Good evening, my friends. Peace be upon you all. I truly wish that you are having a wonderful day and that the week so far has been excellent for you. It's been a somewhat tough time for me and those with me. We've been involved in several issues. I've had to move from one place to another and take out a lease in another name just so that I can't be tracked easily. And there are many things going on, which is why my security is currently at stake. And I don't want to go into hiding every now and then because that's exactly what the radicals want. The radicals want to slow me down. I'm not going to be slowed down. But I want to share a story with you. And before I do, I'd like to thank everyone that's actually donating to my campaign. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have absolutely no idea how much I appreciate your donations and what you're doing for me. And your trust in me. I've come from a very long journey in life. My life can't be put in a book. You don't grow to be an imam to become a reformer. You grow to be an imam to continue that path. And when you switch lanes, you're gonna experience some really serious things in life. And you trusting me, I thank you very much for that. And I do intend to update you with photographs of the progress, what's happening and what's going on. What I'll be purchasing first, and I'll try my best to show you the actual progress without revealing the identity of my house. But yeah, it's gonna be something that I will not forget. What you guys have done for me, I thank you very much. But let's talk about Islamic finances. And I didn't want to speak about this matter. I really didn't want to speak about this matter. I just wanted to get on with my life and have my security ready and just move on tackling radical Islam. But something really did bother me. These radical Muslims, they know very well that my life is at stake. They know very well, and they know that because they kill each other. These radicals, they behead and they slaughter each other, and they know that someone like me is going to get killed anyway, any day. You never know. And when I'm out here saying, can you please help me to enhance my security, they want to go and mock me. They want to say, oh, look at this imam. Now, there are a few things that are being said, and they're all lies. The first one is that this imam is a millionaire, that I am somehow a millionaire, that I have 6 wives, and that I drive a Lamborghini. I've never been next to a Lamborghini in my life. The closest I've been to a Lamborghini is when I stop in a traffic light and there's a Lamborghini in front of me. And they say that he's got 6 wives to me, and all of my wives are on Centrelink. Why are you lying for? Why? Why do you have to do that to me? Why? And that Imam Tawhidi, according to some, is a billionaire. Is a multi-billionaire. Really? In any case, the government knows and the police know and everybody knows my situation and what's going on. But I want to speak to you about the issue of Islamic financing. Why didn't I go to the government and ask for protection? Why? I don't need to. I don't need to ask the government for protection because they are protecting me. And they're protecting each and every one of us. ASIO is doing its best, protecting each and every one of us. And I am not a special person in this country. We're all equal. However, my situation kind of differs. I'm actually being targeted. I'm receiving death threats. And I really want to stay alive. I don't want to end up being beheaded. Although I know that it's very likely that that happens to me, but I still believe there's a lot more I can offer Australia and humanity before that happens, and I would like to delay that for as long as possible. Now, I can't expect the police to have an ambulance parked in front of, or the government to have an ambulance parked in front of my house and a police car just in case anything happens to me. I mean, no one gets that. No one gets that. Not even ambassadors, not even prime ministers have that. So why would I expect that for myself? I mean, I put myself in this position. So it's basically my responsibility and the kindness of my supporters that I am kept safe. That's number one. Secondly, I'm not going to extend my hand to any Islamic businessman. I can do that immediately. I can extend my hand to any Muslim businessman, overseas or even here, and they'd be more than happy to help me with anything, in exchange for expectations, for a foreign agenda. And my soul is not for sale. Therefore, I'm going to have to do this on my own. Now, speaking about Islamic finances, this year, I'm going to release the bank statement of the Islamic Association of South Australia from the date of creation of the bank account and until the time we release it, which will be in the future. So basically after the donation campaign that's running now, we're going to release everything. It's going to be in a PDF file format, and I'm going to have it on my website. And that's how it's going to be with all of my projects from now on. We're going to release everything to the public for public use. Do whatever you like with it. But my challenge here is, this is me, and this is how honest I am, because I want to be honest. Can the Grand Mufti do the same? Can all of these hundreds of Islamic centers do the same? Can they release their bank details and bank accounts and bank statements and how much they have in savings? Where are all of these millions and millions of dollars coming from to buy mosques and build and structure and minarets and these multi-million-dollar projects? Where are they coming from? How come nobody speaks to them? Why is it that when Imam Tawhidi needs a few security cameras and bodyguards to stay alive, everyone wants to accuse him of having 6 wives and that I'm somehow a multi-millionaire? Really? It's just a shame. It is. It's an absolute shame. In any case, that's not my point. I want to tell you a story, which is the main purpose for me appearing live today. I'm just checking how much battery I have. Last year, I announced a project that I was going to make an Islamic center. You'd be surprised. And this was Imam Tawhidi, the real Imam Tawhidi, before I became a fake. So this is when I was welcomed on the pulpits and, greeted and kissed and loved. Everyone's taking blessings off me and so on. Ridiculous. And this was when I was the accepted one who preached Sharia law. Before I rebelled, basically, I announced that I was going to make an Islamic center. Now, you'd be surprised how many people within the Muslim community were ready to donate for an Islamic center. Women within the Muslim community were approaching me, taking off their golden bangles and golden watches and golden rings, and giving them to me. That's exactly what was happening. And I'll tell you at the end of the story why I didn't end up making or building that center. The men used to give me money, and they used to say, we want to see an Islamic center. And I had this massive project for a 3-story, 4-story complex. Then I started to receive messages from overseas businessmen who were ready to chip in. They were ready to donate. And they wanted to donate in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're not talking, and just based on paper and pen. So just putting things on paper, we had close to $200,000 in promises. The Muslim community has money. Please don't try and tell me that you guys are poor and you're on Centrelink. So, and don't tell me refugees are poor. You'll never see a poor refugee. Even the females, they come full of gold. Don't play that card with me. I know the community. Most of these Islamic centers have banks in them. They have Islamic Sharia law banks. And I will be more than prepared to point them out for you, for the government or the banking commission or to whomever it may concern. I'd be more than happy to point out which Islamic center has banks running within them that are not registered. So please, don't try and make me out to be the one who's doing let's say a fraud or scam over here. Don't try that game with me. The Islamic center that I wanted to build actually woke me up. It woke me up big time. How is it that the moment you announce you want to build an Islamic center, you have all of these foreign agendas wanting to contribute and wanting to give you money without even knowing you? But you feel that these people, they have an agenda. All they want to do is spread Sharia law. So the project was going to cost around $3 million. When we hit $200,000 in promises, so we never actually had the full amount. We had some donations, which we later on gave back. But even the promises, we contacted them. We said, listen, we don't want your money anymore. We're not going ahead with the project. And we didn't. And I stopped them. I said, we're not doing this project. Because it seems as though there are agendas ready to take over. And if I build this project, this is me going back a year ago, more than a year ago. I said to myself, if I'm going to build this project and something happens to me, that place is going to turn into a radical house. And I just didn't continue. I left the whole issue and I said I wasn't going to do it. And I'm very proud that I didn't end up doing it. Very, very proud of myself. I began to promote the idea of university theatres. I began to promote the idea of just renting halls in community centres and integrating with people. And I stopped the whole project to build the Islamic Centre. And that's what brought many enemies to me. Oh, he's a deviant. He doesn't want mosques. He doesn't want this. And yeah, I don't want them. I really don't want them anymore. The moral and also the lesson that I learned was that we actually have, not on Jupiter, but here in this country, people with Islamic projects that are being funded by people from the Middle East just because they have an Islamic project. And just because the businessman in the Middle East has this agenda to go ahead and spread his violent Sharia law in one way or another. So we never really went ahead with it. So this is one sad story about Islamic finances. That these people, they bring money from overseas, and the government knows very well. I mean, come on. They bring money from overseas, and they build these centers and so on. And I can point them out off the top of my head. My whole life I've spent it amongst Islamic centers. I can easily point them out. And I know the donor overseas who donates to them. I can easily do it. And none of them pay tax. None of them pay tax on it. None of them. None of them. I can easily point them out. But the problem is, it'll get me killed. It'll get me killed. Now, another thing that businessmen would do, and this is going back before I rebuild, this would be donating money to orphans. And that's fine, you know, like many times I wanted to donate money to orphans. I would call a businessman who's a decent man and say, listen, we have these orphans, and they would donate decent amounts. But why is it that you would only donate to, let's say, the donation would be in my name because I'm the one that actually went out and convinced the businessman to go and do it. And businessmen usually, when they give money to orphans because of a cleric, they would give to the cleric and the cleric would send over. So it's just a matter of priorities. Why is it always that you guys never reach out to non-Muslim orphans? Why is it always the Muslim orphans that you care about? Why is it that you Muslims, you only donate to each other? Why don't you donate to regular charities? Why don't you do that? I don't understand. I mean, you guys, you have your hands in the government's pocket expecting community benefits and grants from local governments, and you guys don't give back. So that was one thing that really bothered me. So yeah, I'm not here to hide this. This is going to be in my book. I will put this in my book. Back in the day, we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, if Imam Tawhidi wanted money, like this, and the whole community knows very well. The Muslim community, they know very well. They know exactly how much power and respect and regard Imam Tawhidi had amongst these businessmen. If I wanted something done like this, I used to go overseas and make channels, TV channels like that. Why? Because there were people that would be more than prepared to spread Sharia law. And when you rebel, then you're either going to be selling your soul to continue with these people, or you're actually going to be an honest human being that just leaves everything and depend on yourself. Now, I returned to Australia from studying overseas in 2015. So the last several months of the last few months in 2014, 2015 was my actual start. And when I was in Melbourne, before I moved to Adelaide, I was actually involved in some community volunteering, and I saw a lot of what was happening, which is what basically made me move to Adelaide, because the corruption in Adelaide is less. Let's put it this way. The corruption in Adelaide is less than other cities. So I moved to Adelaide because that would be the most decent thing to do. And I started the Islamic Association of South Australia, and now it's it was registered in 2016. I'll just show you the certificate. This here is the certificate for the Islamic Association of South Australia. So we've only been registered for a year now, and I'm very proud. Now this July, or this let's say this time where people are going to be releasing their taxes, I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to bring the whole statement. I'm going to bring everything from the day of the creation of the bank accounts for the Islamic Association till that very day that I release. And I want to see if other Islamic centers would be more than happy to do the same. This is number one. Secondly, I am going to end my time volunteering in the Islamic Association of South Australia. And I want to make this very formal, so I'll go back again. 1 second. Sorry, my office is a mess. So 6 July 2016. And now we are in July 2017. It's been 1 year. And I think that I should move on from Islamic work, and I'm going to start doing work that serves the entire human race. I'm going to change. We're still going to have the equipment, which is basically my computer and desk and a few tables and security scanners and so on. We're going to have the equipment, and we're going to actually change the whole thing. We're going to move forward from the Islamic Association of South Australia. I'm not into this anymore. I'm going to start working for humanity. And I want to see if other Muslims would be prepared to release all of their documents, because I will. I will release everything for the public, even what they don't need, I'll still release it. Everything. Will they be prepared to do that? I don't think so. So why are all the fingers pointing at me just because I wanted a few security cameras and a few bodyguards to come and protect me at night? Why? In any case, the Islamic finances need a lot of watching from the government. And I've said this before. Sorry guys, just my family calling. Yeah, I've said this before. The bank accounts of the imams need to be monitored. Islamic centers need to be monitored. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to undergo an investigation by anyone. By anyone. But I want to see if other imams would be more than happy, or even happy, or would be satisfied to go under investigation. Come on, release your bank statements. Would they do that for your organizations? I don't care about personal accounts. I mean, you can have as much savings as you like. I would admit I've taken many loans from friends and people in the past to get my association running. And I can provide stat decks that state that from them, and the period of time that they've given me to return the loan. And even when they heard that I've rebelled against Sharia law and so on, they still didn't do anything to me, and they still say, look, Imam, between me, you and God, I've given you 5-10 years to give back the money, then, all the best. And we've spent it all on the community. I mean, for God's sake, all the reports that I've given to the government, how much work I've done in the community trying to educate them, university theatres. It's just too much to explain, honestly. And, I'm very grateful that we have certain honest businessmen that don't have foreign agendas, but I'm not even going to go to them at all from now on. I'm not doing it ever at all. I'm not doing it again. It's not worth it. I'm not selling my soul to anyone, a good or bad businessman. Not doing it. We need to start a people's movement. We shouldn't depend on Muslim businessmen to fund us imams. Stop it. It needs to stop. I stopped it last year. Maybe you should stop. And it honestly took a lot of time for me to actually think this out and say, do I really want to stop this Islamic Center project? Because when I stopped it, the hate came. It came from all corners, I tell you. From all corners, they were just hating on me, one after the other, as to how can you stop this Islamic Center. In any case, I stopped, and I'm not building any mosque ever, and I'm just going to focus on establishing a organization. Once my security is confirmed, I will establish an organization that targets radical Islam, and I'll speak about this in detail on what the objectives will be, what the motives will be. But in no way am I going back to that life where I use my status to make money in the name of religion. That is corruption, and that's what the majority of these imams are doing. These Islamic centers that are releasing statements against me, right? The Hussainiyat al-Nabi al-Akram and the other one, and all of these clerics. You know what? I'm actually going to come after you. I will actually come after you one day. I'm not saying now, but one day. I'm going to come after you one day. And I want to see exactly where your funding comes from. I swear to God. Me and you both know that it comes from the Iranian regime indirectly. And it's very clear. We know where your funding comes from, because who funds Islamic centers? It's either someone linked with Saudi Arabia for the Sunnis, or Iran for the Shia, and sometimes even Hezbollah. So how come we don't have investigations in these Islamic centers? Why are the fingers pointed at the good Muslims, like the Ahmadiyya? Not myself. I don't need to speak about myself. I've been calling for investigations on imams for a very long time when it comes to finances. But I'm speaking about these good Muslims, the Ahmadiyya Muslims that are always being persecuted and attacked, and people always pointing fingers at them. They're very organized. Why are they always being targeted by the majority of Muslims? How come the majority of Muslims don't get targeted? Why? I only came back to Australia 2015. I've never been working since I've come. I engaged in studies, and then I started this organization when I moved to Adelaide, and I began to volunteer. I did some studies online, but I'll be more than happy to pay tax, even though I don't owe it. I'll still be more than happy to pay. I'll give everything for this country. But what about these clerics that own 4 or 5 homes and literally have 2 wives? And all of these brand new cars, how come nobody puts them under investigation? How come nobody questions them? Why? It's not fair. It's not fair that this is happening. You have good imams and you have corrupt imams. How come there's some special treatment going on there? And the Islamic finances is a sad story in this country because it happens. It happens and nobody does anything about it. I'm sorry I keep getting up and down. I had to put my phone back on charge. And I also wanted to apologize for getting emotional on television. I was really broken. That question really, it shocked me. It came at me like a cyclone. And I'm not someone that runs away from the truth. When I'm subjected to such a question, I'm not going to run away and play taqiyya. I'm going to tell you what the problem is, and the problem is the faith that these people believe in. It's the violent interpretation, which is the majority of Muslims' faith when it comes to Sharia law. That's basically all I wanted to get off my chest. We've rebelled. We have a good number of supporters for the short time that we've been active in as reformers. And now is just time that we actually move on and start doing work for humanity and stop focusing on the mosque and the carpet of the mosque and the preacher of the mosque and the books of the mosque. I haven't been to a mosque in ages. And I'm proud. I'm very proud. Very proud. These mosques that go on radicalizing people, don't believe in them. I thank you all. Please go and have a good night, and God bless you all, and we'll stay in touch. Please don't forget me in your prayers. I'm in need of your prayers. Thank you very much for your support. God bless.